I've been enjoying the series. I'm excited to speak to you about it because it's such a cool character. And
Thank
I'm
you.
curious, what was it about Alec Mercer that made you want to play him originally?
Well, I have to say, the first thing is they asked. That was the first consideration. Someone asked me if I'd be interested. That's always nice. And second, I had spent so much of my television career playing detectives, and
Mhm.
that comes with its own, trajectory of investigating and ways of being. And in this case, we were going into a similar world where there were certainly investigations of crime and mystery, but in this case, I wasn't a detective. I'm more, someone who helps, and that intrigued me. And the other part of it was the idea of playing a teacher, a professor, if you will.
Mhm.
In my previous occupation on the Flash, yes, I was playing a detective, but the part that got me was playing a dad to Superhuman, if you will, who really needed a dad. And in this case, I'm not a dad, but I am a professor who is certainly responsible for young hearts and minds.
Yeah, what I like about the character is he's very cerebral. You see the gear is always working. Something's always like being processed back. And if it's not the current like the mystery of the week, essentially, it's that big mystery. He's kind of
Yes.
like kind of even though he's not a detective, he is kind of like a modern day Sherlock Holmes.
That's nice of you to say it that way. I'd never even thought of it as a Sherlock Holmes. I thought of it as somebody who was super passionate about behavior. And when you start
Mhm.
talking about mysteries and you start talking about crime, that comes with a whole lot of irrational behavior. Forgive my language there, but and that to Alec Mercer, the character I'm playing, is absolutely fascinating. So that's what I get really hyped about.
Yeah, and in his brain, there's this library of human nature and theories and ideas that's all based in science. What
Yes.
is the coolest thing that you learned about human behavior while portraying this character?
Oh wow, that's a great question. One of the things I learned is if uh, if there is an irrational choice to make, most humans make it. Because humans are emotional, right? And an emotional, particularly when you talk about love or loss, is completely irrational. So the decisions made because of those emotions are oftentimes really bad decisions. So that has been the best part to explore, like literally. And believe me, I don't know if I was an expert on reading things or reading people or reading behaviors before, but I am learning how much I do know now that it's sort of been, you know, uh, uh, what's the word, uh, confirmed or validated by real science.
Mhm.
I just thought I was a regular human being, sort of noticing things or clocking behaviors, but you never know if you're right about your assessment, right? And I'm learning in this role and playing this every day is that there's some things I'm actually really good at reading.
Yeah, well, there's that instinctual part of people, but you're validating it by through the science, which is really cool.
Sure. And my favorite part about all of this is like, when this character Alec goes out on the field to help, his ex-wife is an FBI agent, right? So cases come up through her work that she'll need my help with. And my favorite part is tying that back to school, back to the university,
Mhm.
so that I could help the students get there, help the students learn how to read, help the students learn how to evaluate behaviors and logic.
Yeah, there's these two different worlds. He's out there helping solve crimes and mysteries, and then he's a teacher too. So he's
Yeah.
he's not just doing it on his own. He's kind of creating the next generation or helping to support or develop the next generation of people like him, which
And
is really
that's not to
cool.
say that I'm the smartest guy in the room, because Alex certainly makes really, really irrational decisions himself. He's emotional as well, and it's probably not the easiest thing to evaluate my own behavior, so I think that's what makes it interesting. Like, every great character has great flaws, so I certainly have them in this one.
Are there some other aspects of the character besides um, his ability to read human behavior that you find the most like engaging, most interesting?
Yeah, the idea that emotion plays a part on my part. It would be very difficult for a living, breathing human being who has any kind of heart to see people going through, difficult emotions or difficult times and not, myself be affected by it. So, I've spent many a year, on shows like Law and Order, where, there was the notion of, the character I'm playing being sort of just the facts, sort of straightforward, detective work, where, supposed to have this steely nature and what have you, and you're not affected so much emotionally. In this case, I have free reign to be entirely affected. And one of the things I learned about the character in this kind of work is the more that I am engaged that way, the more I get out of people that way.
The it's really interesting too that you have, the character has a backstory. There's something that drives him, which is, the explosion, and you're kind of piecing this together. In addition to, like I said, your kind of your weekly mystery, you have this bigger puzzle that we're slowly getting pieces put in place.
Yes.
How much of his mystery are you given privy to? Do you know where it's going? Or are you just like us,
I do not.
waiting to find out next?
I do not. That is a function of two things. One of the things is, me, the actor Jesse, doesn't necessarily want to know so much, because the part of telling the story is finding out when essentially you find out. The other thing is, this is the television landscape. Writers write, when they write. So I can't know too much before it's actually written down on the page.
So as you said, you kind of you're an observer of people, and it's been in your roles, but now it's kind of part of you. I was wondering if that, how much of that bleeds over into your real life. Is like, do you find yourself like, kind of catching the, reading the room pretty quickly?
Yeah. Yes. Probably not in any way that I hadn't before. It's just heightening my awareness now. And I may even have some scientific or technical terms for what I'm seeing or what I'm experiencing now, which makes me in some funny way feel really smart. But it's probably no different than I've always been. I mean, I'm an actor. One of the things we're supposed to be really good at is observing human behavior because we have to, replicate it. So, to have this role and have all this terminology and like have the teachings, if you will, of what the role is loosely based on. Dan Ariely, I don't know if you know who that is, but he's an author, behavioral psychologist, and all that, and an expert at what he does. So the idea that he has all these theories that have names attached to them and what have you. If I'm in a regular life situation and I'm sort of observing the way I've always done as a person and an actor, I suddenly have these terms in my head. I have to be very careful though in friendly situations not to become the annoying science guy who who sort of like starts naming people's psychoses or ways of being or their emotions, right?
A real downer at the party. I'm like, oh, come on, can we just talk about something else?
It's not a great party trick.
Identifying people like, well, this is where that all ties to, and
it's like that armchair psychologist kind of thing. Nobody really wants that.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm wondering, with your heightened observational abilities, did you detect any of my Buffalo accent?
No. And like, okay, I'm going to challenge you on that because I know Buffalo accent pretty well. And your A's are not as sharp as most Buffalonians.
I think I've been in New York, New Jersey for almost 20 years, I think.
So they beat it out of you.
They've rounded out, yeah. My it's funny. I'm raising two girls on. Oh yeah, car,
right?
car and
A's.
yeah, that was a
Like,
big
hey,
one.
hey, 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 we got to go down
Yep.
to Elba, get a pizza.
Yeah, for sure. Do you? It's nice to see that you're representing your Buffalo, you know, roots, which is fantastic. I always cheer, or support anybody who comes back from the old Rust Belt.
Yeah, I
Are
do
you
that as
still
well.
connected with that area?
I am pretty connected. I have certainly some friends still from high school that I'm still very in touch with. I had a fantastic network of teachers in Buffalo that I
Mhm.
still know very well and still talk to and call on when I need help, especially some of my theater professors. I went to performing arts high school in Buffalo,
Mhm.
and I feel like I got to experience the heyday of public school there. And I had these fantastic teachers like Fortunato Pesamenti and John D'Arcangelo, who are, we're all grown people now, but they still feel like mentors to me and behave as such.
One question, again, another Buffalo related question, and I'm
Sure.
not sure if you're a big Bills fan, but can you solve the mystery of the Bills this season? Are you?
I can't solve any mystery of the Bills. I've had such an emotional investment in the Bills over the last couple of decades that you never know what's coming. I am still a Bills fan and I will always cheer them on, but I have to guard my heart so often.
I exposed it again this year. I think everybody did. I think everyone was waiting for that
Yeah.
big moment.
I mean, we all want that big moment from Buffalo. We all want it.
We've had all the big moments in the wrong direction. We need the positives.
You said it, I didn't.
If only Alec was around, he would have told me, "Hey, you know what? I saw this coming. I could read the coach or something." To
Listen,
close out, a real. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, I was going to say, I wish I had the power to help. Go Bills.
Yeah, go Bills. So let's close out with this one. 3 words to describe Alec Mercer.
Humble, um, flawed, curious.
Very good. I like that. Well, thank you so much for your time. I'm enjoying the
Thank you.
series and looking forward to watching more mysteries get solved and learning more about Alec and his journey.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate it.
Have a great day.
All right, you too, brother.